Everyone, welcome back to the AI CX Summit. We're kicking off this session with a topic I think will be so helpful for all types of CX leaders, building customer experience from the ground up with brand, culture, and AI working together. I'm joined by someone who has done exactly that and then some. Ren Fuller-Wasserman, CX leader at TUSHY, the bidet brand that somehow made bathroom talk not just normal, but kind of fun. Ren, thank you so much for being here today. How's your day going so far?
So far, so good, and delighted to be here with you to talk some shit.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Before we get into the questions, can you just give everyone a quick intro of your background and your role at Tushy?
Yeah, so I lead customer experience at TUSHY, the modern bathroom brand, trying to make all facets of the bathroom sexy. I've been here for almost 6 years, joined in the wild ride that was COVID and mass adoption of bidets in North America due to the toilet paper shortage. So, uh, happy to
That was a
say that.
time.
Come again?
That was a time. The
Oh,
toilet.
yeah, it was crazy, yeah, and
Yeah.
so, yeah, it was a cultural moment that led to intense education around our product, but yeah, still doing, that work, and thankfully it's evolved a lot, but yeah, leading all facets of customer communication, thinking about the customer journey and how we can get a bidet on every toilet in America and make it the norm like it is in the rest of the world.
Totally. I went to Japan this summer and I feel like they're very serious about their toilets. So we definitely need to
Yeah,
bring that to America.
yeah, yeah, agree.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's zoom out for a second and start where all great CX journeys begin. Ren, you walked into Tushy, you transformed a backlog of tickets into a brand-defining customer experience. What did you see as the biggest opportunity to reimagine CX when you first stepped into the role?
Yeah, I had no idea what I was stepping into, from afar. Tushy from day one had always been really customer centric and good at listening to their customers and connecting through humor. It's a taboo topic to talk about pooping and going to the bathroom by and large in North America. And so they'd always approached it through humor because, people can joke about things that they don't feel comfortable talking about. So that was a really fun facet of the job, to be able to tell poop and fart jokes. If you have a baby or a dog, you're talking about pooping all the time, but adults were not talking about this. And so that was the brand's MO, which was a really fun thing to step into. But also, almost 6 years ago, it was still a really young company and we had been really beloved by some niche communities. But it's pretty different now, 11 years in. And so back then, when I stepped into the role, systems and structures were really needed. So there was a ton of brand love, but it was really thinking about how can we organize some of this chaos, especially considering the intense growth that we went through in 2020, going from a really small team to all of a sudden the hottest product in the country and not quite prepared for that. So a lot of what I set out to do, I started just as an agent, but it was like, okay, can we set up a tagging system? Like what does our knowledge base look like? Evolving from a Google Doc to a full on knowledge base and making it so that, yeah, there was systems and structures, strong documentation, that it wasn't reliant upon one person being the holder of all knowledge. But that was kind of the situation that I stepped into was, an 85-page 2-year-old manual and
Oh
slacking the
my gosh.
CEO. And so it was wild times, but if you're a CXer, kind of like the dream situation to step into of like, oh my God, this is all mine to remake. Yeah, my goal then in March of 2020 was really to evolve it into a world-class scalable department that anyone could step into and not have to slack the CEO. And so here we are 5 years later and very proud of what it looks like now. But I think, yeah, what's always been true is really trying to connect with our customers on a one-to-one level to teach them something that they've never done, right? There's not a lot of experiences like this that you're taking on something totally new. I think the thing that we equate it to most is a cell phone, right? Like you might remember that. It's kind of like, I don't need a cell phone. I don't need a cell phone. And then you get a cell phone, you're like, oh, still don't need it, but my life is much easier and more convenient with it and better. And so that is the work at Tushy of convincing people that their lives will be much better if they have improved hygiene and, yeah, they're cleaner.
Totally. I feel like most people with bidets, they once they convert, they're believers. It's sort of to your point, like, yep, can't live without this going forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and that was my experience. I'd been a customer of Tushy long before I worked here. I'd lived in countries like Argentina and Chile where by law these products were required in the home. I think it goes back to infrastructure.
Wow.
And so when I first got word that, oh, you can install a bidet attachment onto your existing toilet, like that's so cool. I don't need to like renovate my bathroom or be a homeowner for that matter. But yeah, it's still, it's hard to teach old dogs new tricks. So
Yep,
it's fun
I
work.
get it. I get it. You talked a lot about building out a team as well. Did you incur any challenges with, trying to implement process and implement change, and change management? How did you kind of manage that with your team?
Yeah, well, the world was my oyster, so I had some big challenges. Um, I when I joined Tushy, the team was fully based in the US, but I was living in Mexico City. And so I had all of these ideas about, great labor existing around the world. I'd been building my own company, Wavecation, and I was working with people in Argentina and Portugal and Mexico and just being able to hire the best talent for the job wherever we were. And also the arbitrage of being able to find great talent in locales that are much more affordable. And so one of my first challenges was, what does overseas hiring look like? And so very proud to say those first two agents that I took a chance on hiring in the Philippines are still with us. And that
Oh,
was,
wow.
like 5.5 years ago. So that was a challenge, but one of the really interesting things, I think people think a lot about the Philippines for great customer service support, but what's unique to the Philippines as well is they grow up washing their butts with water. Most of them have in their home
Mhm.
what's called a tavo, like a bucket with a scoop. And so not only are they really good at providing amazing hospitality and customer support, they're also native to this practice that we're trying to
Yep.
introduce to Americans. And so it was always so funny as our team has grown. We've relied almost exclusively on Filipino agents that we call purus because they're poop gurus. And they're always like, first day, like, wait, why are all these Americans asking how to dry themselves? Like, don't they know? I'm like, no, they don't. Like, there's just a cultural adjustment. And so, I talk a lot about on with training around how it's going to be a lot of plumbing and installation kind of questions. But really, there is this great demystification around this cultural change that when you grow up doing something, you don't think about it a lot. And so I
Right.
think that's been really gratifying for them to be able to share their cultural knowledge. And, my generation, there was this hang up kind of what does outsourcing look like? And is this um, problematic? And is it, do you want to disclose this? And I think a lot of it is like really beneficial for my team to be like, no, I live in Manila and like, this is how we do. Like, this is normal. Like, this is not
Right.
weird. This is not gross and disgusting. And yeah, I think for them to be able to share their authentic selves with our customers is really gratifying for them and builds a cool cultural connection for our customers as well.
I love that. I love the idea too of it being two-way, right? Sometimes customer support, customer experience can be thought of as we're providing you questions, we're our answers. But really here it's like sort of that two-way connection and conversation and building that relationship with your customers beyond just simple, troubleshooting with
Mhm.
plumbing, technical issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when going back to the story, one of the first customers, when we had like on our reviews where they were based, a customer made a review explicitly mentioning like, oh, my wife is Filipino. And like when we go there, like this is how I learned about bidets and had this whole great engagement around that. And so it was really gratifying to see that. But also, we sell a more expensive product. This is changing people's habits. And so typically, like, people are taking a long time to decide. Maybe they're thinking about this for a year. We hear all the time now, like when we're doing activations on the street, everyone knows about a bidet, but still a lot of people don't have it. It takes them a while to make that change. And so what I am a fundamental believer in is that you need to instill trust through and through. And so they might not be purchasing the first time they talk with someone on our team, but if they speak to an expert that can guide them astutely on exactly what they need, that parlays into deep trust. And so they will think of us as like not necessarily sell, baby, sell, like they're pushing me to buy this thing, and more just there's an expert there and they were able to tell me, yes, this pairs well with my toilet and other things that I might consider as I embark on this journey. And it might be 9 months later that they finally buy it. But I believe like when they feel like they can trust our team, they will ultimately go with Tushy because they know that there's expertise behind it. It's not just slick marketing, like there's really strong support.
Totally. And I think even that concept, right? CX as a salesperson, as a marketing point of contact. Maybe talk more about that, right? Like when you walked in, it was the backlog of support tickets, but how did you evolve it so that your agents weren't just, providing support help, but they were actually helping push sales and marketing and driving retention?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of tactics that one can use, discounts, promos, all these things. But for us, it always went back to education. So when I would look at what tickets were converting, I expected it to be like, all right, Lisa, the classic is the best one for you. Here's a link. And what I was seeing was not that. It was, oh, you have a flushometer toilet. Don't worry, this can be installed using the flushometer kit that connects, to your sink. And it was this more involved guidance that was what was
Mm,
converting, not just making it easy or giving promo codes. And so that's what, yeah, led me to make sure that everyone on my team is really, really strong at all kinds of installation scenarios. So, like, typically, onboarding for my team, it's like they're taking tier one tickets, which are like Wizmos, where is my order, like general knowledge kind of stuff before they're going to the harder installation questions.
mhm.
Because if you reach out to us about installing Tushy in your motorhome, which you can absolutely do, and you don't get that great guidance right away, like we're probably going to lose the sale. And so want to make sure that at every step of the journey, you're getting that support that you need. And so I think it was a natural evolution as far as, training. But then as time has evolved, there's all these really cool tools now. So I was at a point where we were thinking about, do I have a dedicated sales team that is, going after the people that are pre-purchase and manning chat and this whole, thinking about the team. This is also at a time that AI was really evolving in an important way. And so for us taking on AI with our help desk Gorgeous, that allowed us to really work with them and build a robust AI tool. It first started as email and now has evolved to chat. And it's really interesting how AI can support us in ways that removes the repetitive work from our Purus. Like they don't want to answer Wizmos all day. And frankly, I don't think it's probably a value add to tell someone their tracking number that they can find in 6 more places. But what it does allow our team to do is to focus more on the motorhome customer. If they need to get on a phone call with them, they can trust that AI is taking care of all of the tier one stuff, sometimes what I call the baby shit, like the stuff that is very self-serve, but maybe, it's people on chat, it's easy for them to get the answers versus going to a support center. I totally appreciate that. But then my team can get on video installation calls with customers or teach them, how to best introduce their toddler to bidet life so they don't have to like wipe more butts than they should. And so it's giving them a lot of purposeful work versus repetitive burnout style work of like
Right.
dealing with complaining customers that, you're probably not moving the needle for. Um, so yeah, that has been really interesting. And I think also it allows the AI responses that, we see 2 to 3 times conversion on
Mm,
AI chat, for example. And I think people that aren't using it imagine these decision tree kind of flows that existed before. But what's really interesting is in this new world of AI that is not a decision tree, it astutely guides customers to exactly what they need. I think sometimes my team can be a little bit too prescriptive. It's like,
Mm,
where do I find this uh part? And it's like, oh, here's where you find it. Whereas AI might be like, hey, just want to make sure you're, using this appropriately. Do you need this? Like, what is, and it might better diagnose, like, um typical question, I guess, where we really saw the evolution was when we moved from just having a few bidets to now we have 9 in our portfolio. So the question
wow.
used to be, um will this fit on my toilet? Well, we know that Tushy pairs with, probably 99% of toilets in the US. And so that's not the important question anymore. It's which Tushy is right for me. And
Right.
also, will it pair with my toilet? And so the AI agent is really good at assessing, like, what are you looking for? Like, what are the features that you're looking for? What is your price range? And while my team is really good at that, it's not the most normal human conversation to have this great thing about toilet toddler training and then be like, and would you like to buy a 36 pack of toilet paper? Like, that's not how humans communicate. And the AI agent can set it up in a much better way that it gets there and it feels natural. And yeah, then our team can focus on higher level things. So that
Yeah.
has been really interesting to see that evolution, but it's not set it and forget it, right?
Right.
All of that knowledge came from this knowledge base that we've built, right? And so
Yep.
there's robust guidance on the back end. I think that's what sometimes people misunderstand. ChatGPT is just magic and it knows my voice. Well, we want to ensure that every person that comes to our website that's there for 30 seconds has a meaningful interaction and it's just not AI drivel. And that goes back to intense documentation and
Yep.
QA, making sure that it's as good as a Puru, if not better.
I drew out a few takeaways there, like it's not set it and forget it. You do have to train the AI, right? There is a bit of an investment there. And then I also think it's interesting to say, like, not one size fits all, right? Like, there
Right.
are
Yeah.
cases where AI actually kind of handles communications better than a human, but then there are
Mhm.
certainly a lot of cases where a human is going to be much better than AI. So it's great to hear how you're not just sort of applying a blanket approach and really thinking about it strategically.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a fun challenge. And yeah, it's also Wild West, right? I think our world has been pushed into AI necessarily just because of the nature of our work. And so I think for all of us, we think AI, 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 it's all in our inbox, it's
Mhm.
everywhere. But then I have conversations with my parents and they have no idea what I'm talking about. So I think it's really important for us to remember that we are on the cutting edge and like, just because we've had a bad experience with it doesn't mean that it doesn't work, right? Like this is like we're on the very forefront of this. And so, yeah, I definitely have my trepidation about a lot of these things and concerns, but I think it's given my team an added layer of humanity. And like something I say to my team every day is like, you are here because you have heart and I expect you to use it every day, right? Like bots are great to agilize certain workflows, but I haven't replaced anyone on my team with AI. I've just leveled up their work.
Right.
And when AI takes on more of the workload, I'm actually able to loan some of our Purus to other departments too. Like we're coming into a really busy time. We
Yep.
know things are going to break. And my team that's been with us for years, they're generalists in a lot of areas of the business that I can easily throw some might to somebody else that might need a hand, which is really cool.
That's also funny to hear because I feel like in years past, before AI has been able to help us, it was sort of the opposite. It's like, okay, everyone, CX needs a lot of help. There's high volume during Q4. But now
Mhm.
you're kind of saying it's allowed you to go the other way and have them
Yeah.
lean in and help other teams during the busy period.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild. Yeah, typically we're a very um heavy Q4 company and so I would hire in July, I would hire, 3 to 8 new agents every
Yep.
year, train them a lot and it was, very labor intensive. And last year we took a chance and I kind of crossed my fingers and thought, okay, this might be really bad. But it was our most successful holiday season yet with a product launch at the same time, which was kind of crazy. And so this season, that we're not going to have a product launch at the exact same time, like I'm just like really excited to see what we can do. And yeah, also stoked that most of my team has already lived through holiday season, so that will be easier. But yeah, it's been really interesting as a lot of these tools have evolved. Like, where are we spending less time in manual
Yeah.
reporting and we can see things in real time? I think that's the other game changer too, especially around the holidays, with tools like Hark. Before I was relying a lot on manual reporting, like tagging and ticket fields. And, you pull those reports once a week, and that might be too late to catch things. And so now to be able to capture sentiment in real time and see like what are the things that are trending up, or I fix this thing, I think, and to actually see it trending down in a slick dashboard without having to do all the manual reporting, like it does make a difference as far as action, because it's easy to say, oh, it was only like that for 3 days. But if those 3 days are over Black Friday, Cyber Monday, like
You're
not good.
done.
Cut it. Yeah.
It's done. We've moved on. Yes,
Yeah.
totally. And I think even thinking about things Hark can help with, like manual tagging, just taking that burden off of your agents. It's funny to think about, just even 2 years ago, that was such a core integral part of CX
Yeah.
agents day to day that has just
Yes.
completely gone away,
Yeah.
which has been amazing. And I think you mentioned the word empathy before, and I feel like at Hark, that really hits home for us. We are, an AI built tool, but at the end of the day, we want to collect video feedback so that your agents can have a closer connection, right? And really understand what the customer is saying. I'm sure you get a lot of Hark videos of people in their home taking videos of their
Mhm.
bathrooms. You can kind of see, where they're living, their situation. How has Hark videos helped with empathy for your agents?
Oh, like, and that's the original reason why I started using Hark, was because of this video feature, but I didn't consider the empathy compassion side of it. It was more a need for us that almost all of our troubleshooting will go back to a video or a photo, right? And then it's like begging customers, like, please, I swear, like, if you just send a video, we'll be able to understand exactly what's going on. And it was maybe, I don't know how, or why do you guys need this? And so using the Hark portal that allows us to compulsory ask for that and get it in an easy way, not only like serves us a perfect ticket. So it was like our one touch resolution went up incredibly, but to be able to share like with our product engineering team, like not just this thing happened, but like watch Barbara and see what she's complaining about, and it really contextualizes things. And so with frequency, I'm sharing videos with the full company on like our weekly stand-ups, and it's really a cool thing for them to see our customers, see their bathrooms, and in a few sentences, they might highlight something that our marketing team has been noodling on for a long time,
Mhm.
but to see them explaining something in their bathroom is like, this is why we need it. And sometimes it's like one video, or it's also like really cool to see the love that people have for our brand. Sometimes I remember this
Right.
video is like, what up, Tushy fam? Like, I'm in my bathroom, and it's just like a guy like showing off his Tushy, needing a spare part. But also, some of these meaner emails that we get, that thankfully we don't have a lot of rude customers, but, things like, as you can clearly see, this shit does not attach to this shit, and you assholes, da, da, da. And then you can see clearly in the video that he has it totally wrong. And so we can just very like diffuse the situation
Right.
immediately, where it might be a lot of caps emails back and forth. In this one, we can be like, hey, looks like you just need to flip that around and tighten it, and you should be good to go. And then we get an apology back. And I think it's just like the leveling up of our
Yeah.
tools, but also being able, the shareability, right? And particularly for us, that like we have really strong feedback loops with our product design team, to be able to just share like, here's 15 videos or images of this thing that we've been talking about, like run with it. Let's iterate based on this feedback. That is really a game changer for them.
I think that's such an important call out, especially as we think about the voice of customer aspect of customer experience. I think in the past, it was so easy for there to be this huge gold mine of customer feedback that was just sort of trapped within the CX team, right?
Mhm.
Not that the CX team wasn't trying to tell the company, but they didn't really have an effective way to get the company to actually listen. So I love some of the tangible things that you mentioned, having meetings with your product team, sharing videos, even just using it as a morale booster and seeing
Totally.
customer positivity. Because at the end of the day, right, we're all here for the customer. So I love that.
Yeah. And it's important to
Okay.
have those reminders, like, why do we do what we do? We talk about having fun a lot, but if we're not
Right.
seeing how the customers are enjoying it and how it's changing their lives, like, what's it for? We have a
Exactly.
Slack channel that's CX Delight, and that's just like I tell everyone, pop in there when you need a pick me up. It's just all the love letters and positive notes we get from our customers that can be zany and wild and weird, but like in the best way. And yeah, when you're deep in the weeds, like on a financial model, it's like, this is who you're doing it for. Like, this is really changing people's lives.
That the CX Delight Slack channel. So
Mhm.
everyone watching should go and create a channel like that right after this meeting.
Yeah, especially as we get into this stressful time when like it's easy for me to like see all the bad. And so then it's like, yeah, positive psychology. You have to balance the good. I think it's like some people say 3 to 1, 5 to 1, 7 to 1, but you need a lot more positivity in your
Yes.
life. And sometimes, yeah, being a purposeful crafter of that can really help the morale of any team.
Yes. Love that. Morale is so important to a growing team. All right. Before we wrap up, Ren, if you had one piece of advice for someone building CX at a brand that's growing super fast, what is something that they could start doing differently tomorrow? What would you tell them?
I think it usually goes back to your team, right? Treat your team like you would treat your customers and every step of the journey in creating that team, right? So I think it goes back to hiring specifically for who you're looking for and setting up really strong processes so you know you're getting on my team I need the red flag waivers, the squeaky wheels, the people that have no problem saying, "Oh my gosh, this is all broken, we need to fix it." But then also nurturing them. I think it's getting better all the time, but we have incredible expectations of how we should treat our customers, but that's not always met on the inside of how we treat our employees. And I think if you want to have long-term retention and really expert teammates, like you need to treat them really well. And, I think the way that we run our team is quite unique, but yeah, no one is leaving this team voluntarily, and I trust them implicitly. And, it was a big investment, but I can see that when I treat my team well, it's easy for them to pay that forward with our customers. And hopefully that shines through in the product that, we might look like a big, huge, slick corporation, but we're still just like a very small, scrappy company trying to make it and living out the values of being kind to our planet, to our people, and just, yeah, being able to share those values with the world. Yeah, it sometimes goes back to from within, like being good to your people, and yeah, the rest follows.
I love that because I think people sometimes think about employee retention, right? Obviously, don't be an asshole to your employees, but then you even just saying how that then translates outward to customers, right?
Yeah,
Not just in terms of their morale, if they're in a good mood, but also that knowledge base that you had mentioned
yeah,
earlier.
yeah,
When someone leaves, that knowledge base, leaves with them.
right. Yeah, yeah. So yesterday we had our monthly meetup. We called Tushy Gang, where played games and told some scary stories. And it's kind of like, does this need to be happening on like what is going to be the biggest week? Like, absolutely. Like, these are things that are important because, yeah, we can work hard, but play hard too. And yeah, find that space.
Totally. Okay. And if anyone watching wants to reach out to you directly or follow along on LinkedIn with all the amazing work that you're doing, what is the best way for them to get in touch?
Yeah, so I think I'm probably the only one in the world with my name, Ren Fuller-Wasserman, on LinkedIn, or you can find me at Tushy, Ren at hellotushy.com. I would love for everyone to be onto Bidet Life, hellotushy.com, not to be confused with tushy.com. That's a little bit of a different experience. But yeah,
I've made the mistake before. I think it's a rite of passage.
yeah, we think that all of tushy.com customers should be ours, but not necessarily vice versa.
Yes,
Um, But yeah, always down to share my playbook and talk shop about any of these things because, yeah, I think the CX world is so incredible, and we're all working with similar tech stacks, and we're getting into crazy times, and no one should have to reinvent the wheel. So always down to share because I know I've learned so much through doing and through incredible mentors that I've had. So yeah, happy to share.
Love it. Ren, thank you so much for bringing all your amazing knowledge, being so open about how you built, such an amazing CX program at Tushy, and of course, having no shortage of bathroom puns throughout this entire conversation.
It's an
Uh,
occupational hazard.
I know, I think it's just ingrained in you by now. You can't even help it.
Yeah. Yeah, much to my father's chagrin, as a kid, there was no toilet talk at the table, and now it's sometimes like, "Okay, we don't have to talk only about Tushy at dinner time, fine."
Maybe pick another location for it. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Stick around. We've got some great conversations coming up here at the AICX Summit. Bye.
Thanks so much, Lisa.